Welcome back to Study Tip for IGCSE Biology. Today's topic is related to respiration and gas exchange. Without further delay, let's begin. In this chapter, you will find out about why human and other organisms need energy, the release of energy from food in respiration, the equation for aerobic respiration, the equation for aerobic respiration in yeast and in humans, how to investigate the uptake of oxygen by respiring organism, the effect of temperature on rate of respiration of germinating seeds, the structure and functions of the organ of the human respiratory system, the features of the human gas exchange surface that adapt it for its function, how goblet cells, mucus, and ciliated cells help to protect the gas exchange surface from pathogen and particles, and how breathing is brought about by the intercostal muscles and diaphragm, and the differences between the composition of inspired air and expired air. Why humans and other organisms need energy? Every living cells need energy. In human, cells need energy for contracting muscles, which can move part of the body. Secondly, for making protein molecules by linking together amino acid into long chains. Thirdly is for cell division, which can help to repair damaged tissue and can grow new. And fourth is for the active transport, which can move substances across cell membrane up their concentration gradients. And fifth is for transmitting nerve impulses, which can transfer information quickly from one part of the body to another. And sixth, producing heat inside the body, which to keep body temperature constant even the environment is cold. Where is the energy come from? The energy comes from the food that we eat. The food is digested and then is broken down into smaller molecules which are absorbed from intestine into the blood, and then the blood will transport the nutrients to all the cells in the body, and finally the cells will take up the nutrients that they need. And the main nutrient is used to provide energy in cell is glucose. Glucose contains a lot of chemical energy. So in order to make use of this energy, cells have to break down the glucose molecule and release energy from them via a series of metabolic reactions called respiration. Metabolic respirations involves the actions of enzyme. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Respiration is a chemical reaction which takes place in all living cells and releases energy from glucose. The differences between anaerobic respiration and aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is a chemical process in which oxygen is used to make energy from carbohydrate or sugar. Whereas in anaerobic respiration occurs without oxygen and releases less energy but more quickly than aerobic respiration. Okay, so let's look into the aerobic respiration. When the breakdown of glucose food occurs with the use of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration, where we have this equation, glucose plus oxygen, to produce carbon dioxide plus water. So if you see the below, this is the equations that related to chemistry. C6H12O6 is represent glucose, plus 6O2 means that 6 of oxygen, and to produce 6CO2 which is carbon dioxide, plus 6H2O is a water. Most of aerobic respiration takes place inside mitochondria, and large amount of energy released from each molecule of glucose. So no alcohol or lactic acid made. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, is in microorganism is called fermentation. So where the equation here is only glucose to produce alcohol plus carbon dioxide. And for the chemistry equation, you can see C6H12O6 is represent glucose, is to produce 2C2H5OH is represent alcohol, plus 2CO2 is represent carbon dioxide. Anaerobic respiration, which is without oxygen, takes place within the cell's cytoplasm. So much less energy released from each molecule of glucose. Alcohol in yeast and plants or lactic acid in animal is made during anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration in human occurs in muscle during strenuous exercise when sufficient oxygen is not available. So it results in the buildup of lactic acid leading to muscle fatigue. So when there is an inadequate supply of oxygen during intense exercise, muscle derive energy from anaerobic respiration. Gas exchange in humans. Gas exchange allow the body to replenish the oxygen and eliminate the carbon dioxide. What are the most important things for gas exchange? So the main factors for the gas exchange include as follows. One is the membrane thickness. The thinner the membrane, the faster the rate of diffusion. Membrane surface area, so the larger the surface area, the faster the rate of diffusion. And the pressure difference across the membrane and diffusion coefficients of the gas. These are the four main factors that include for the gas exchange. If you can see, this is a diagram of the human gas exchange system. So we have left lung, right lung. So this is left bronchus, and we have broncholi, and we have alveoli, SX. Okay, and then external intercostal muscle, internal intercostal muscle, diaphragm, and this in the middle part is the heart. Then it's involved trachea and larynx. The human breathing system. The most important structure which are involved in gas exchange in human are two lungs. Okay, we have left and right, and each lung is filled with many tiny air space called SX or alveoli. Oxygen diffuses into the blood because they are so full of spaces. Lungs feel very light and spongy to touch. The lungs are supplied with air through the one pipe or trachea. So we can see this is a trachea. Okay. So its air is go through from the up, goes inside the trachea and goes inside the lung, or we call it as a one pipe or trachea. The pathway to the lung. Okay, this is the diagram that's not snapshot part of the lining of the respiratory passages, the nose and mouth. Air can enter the body through either nose or mouth. Nose and mouth are separated by the palate, so the person can breathe through nose even when eating. It is better to breathe through nose because the structure of nose allows the air to become warm, moist, and filtered before it gets to the lung. Hair in the nose trap dust particle in the air. Inside the nose are some thin bones called turbinate bones, which are covered with thin layer cells called goblet cells. Goblet cells make a liquid containing water and mucus, which evaporates into the air in the nose and moisten. Cilia tiny hair like projections. Cilia tiny hair, this is the cilia tiny hair. always moving the bacteria or particles or dust to get trapped in them in mucus. So cilia are found all along trachea and bronchi. The pathway to the lung. The trachea from the nose. Okay, if you see where is the trachea, this is the position of the trachea. This is the what we call it, the upper side larynx. Okay, this is trachea. From the nose, it's not from our nose, which is just imagine from this or mouth, the air then pass into the one windpipe or trachea. So the air will flow and passes into the trachea or windpipe. At the top of trachea is a piece of cartilage called epiglottis. Okay, so this closes the trachea and stop food getting down the trachea when swallow. This is reflex actions happen automatically when a bolus of food touches the soft palate. Just below the epiglottis is the voice box or larynx containing vocal cord. The vocal cord can be tightened by muscles that make sounds when air passes over them. The trachea has a ring of cartilage around which keep it open. Next, the bronchi. Where is the bronchi? If you can see here, this is this part. Okay, this part. The trachea goes down through the neck into the thorax. Thorax is the upper part of your body from the neck down to the bottom of the rib and diaphragm. In the thorax, the trachea divides into two. Two branches are called right and left bronchi. And one bronchus go to each lung and then branches out into the smaller tube called bronchioles. Okay, this is a diagram that is actually more focused on the diagram is more focused on the bronchi, bronchiole. So the alveoli. At the end of each bronchiole are many tiny air sacs or alveoli where gas exchange takes place. The wall of alveoli, some might say alveoli, are the gas exchange surface. Tiny capillaries are closely wrapped around the outside of the alveoli. So oxygen diffuses across the wall of the alveoli into the blood, and carbon dioxide diffuses the other way. If you can see, the airflow here comes inside here. So these are the blood vessels, bring blood without much oxygen from the pulmonary arteries. And you can see the blood vessel. This is the blood vessel. You can see on the right, on the red, color with the red vessel, return or oxygenated blood to the pulmonary veins. Okay. Gas exchange in the lung. Okay, the wall of alveoli have several features which make them an efficient for gas exchange surface. Okay, if you can see, this is actually the alveoli. Okay, so why the wall of alveoli have several features which make them an efficient gas exchange surface? Because it's very thin. Okay, only one cell tip. And the capillary wall only one cell tip, and oxygen molecule only has to diffuse across this small thickness to get into blood. And have excellent transport system. And blood is constantly pumped to the lung along pulmonary artery. This branches into thousands of capillary which take blood to all parts of the lung. Carbon dioxide in the blood can diffuse out into the air spaces in the alveoli, and oxygen can diffuse into the blood. The blood then takes back to the heart in pulmonary vein, ready to pump to the rest of the body. Thirdly, because they have a large surface area. Okay, if you see, this is the air space, surface area. They have a large surface area. Okay, the surface area is anonymous. Anonymous, the total surface area of all the alveoli in the lung is over 100 meters squared. So have a good supply of oxygen. Breathing movement keep lungs well supplied with oxygen. So this is diagram for your reference. Okay. Where if you can see very detailed about the alveoli, alveolio, you can see there is a wall of alveolus, and where carbon dioxide diffuses out of the blood from here, and oxygen diffuses into the blood, goes in. Okay, when the oxygens comes in, oxygen diffuses into the blood and produce carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide diffuses out of the blood, and they have a moist surface, and this is the wall capillary. The breathing movement. Breathing movement, to make air move in and out of the lung, keep changing the volume of thorax. Make it large so that the air is sucked in. Make it smaller again so that the air is squeezed out, and this is called breathing. Muscle in two parts of the body help to breathe, which is intercostal muscle located between the ribs, and the others are in diaphragm. The diaphragm is a large muscle elastic tissue which stretches across your body underneath the lungs and heart. Breathing. Breathing in or inspiration. When breathing in, diaphragm muscle contract. This pull diaphragm downward, which increase the volume in thorax. So at the same time, the external intercostal muscle contract. And this pull the rib cage upward and outward. So this increase the volume of thorax. As the volume thorax increase, the pressure inside it falls below atmospheric pressure. So extra space has been made and something must come in to fill it up. And air rushes in along the trachea and bronchi into the lungs. You can see this is a diagram about how the external intercostal raise the rib. And this is the diagram which shows that the rib cage and intercostal muscle. Okay, the movement of intercostal and the external intercostal. External intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscle. These are two muscles. So behind the rib. Breathing out or expiration. First, when breathing out, expiration, the diaphragm spring up. Okay, when it spring up, okay, you can see the diaphragm it push up. Okay, the rib cage is lower. The rib cage is lower. And the volume of the thorax decrease, so air is forced out of the lung. You can just imagine when you breathe out. So what is happened to your lung? Internally, this is what happened to your lung. When breathing out, the muscle of the diaphragm relax. The diaphragm spring back up into its dome shape because it is made of elastic tissue. This decreases the volume in the thorax. So the external intercostal muscle also relax. The rib cage drop down again into its normal position. So this is also decreases the volume of the thorax. Relaxing the external intercostal muscle and the muscle of the diaphragm is all that is needed for breathing out. When you are coughing, you breathe out forcefully. Then internal intercostal muscle contracts strongly, making the rib cage drop down even further. So the muscle of abdomen wall also contract, helping to squeeze extra air out of the thorax. This is the difference between respiration, gas exchange, and breathing. Respiration, okay, what does it mean by respiration? Respiration is a series of chemical reactions which happen in all living cells, in which food is broken down to release energy, usually by combining it with oxygen. Gas exchange, the exchange of gases across a respiratory surface. For example, oxygen is taken into the body and carbon dioxide is removed from it. And gas exchange also takes place during photosynthesis and respiration of plants. Breathing. Breathing is a muscular movement which keeps the respiratory surface supplied with oxygen. So below is the comparison of inspired and expired air. So oxygen during inspired air is about 21%, expired air is about 16%. The different, you can see that inspired air is higher than the expired air. The reason for difference is oxygen is absorbed across the gas exchange surface, then used by the cell in respiration. Like macam carbon dioxide, inspired air is only 0.04% and expired air is 4%. So because of carbon dioxide is made inside respiratory cell and diffuses out across the gas exchange surface. And argon and other noble gases like 1% and 1%, nothing much different. And water content, humidity, like during inspired air, is not noted how many, is noted as a variable, and expired air is always high. So gas exchanges surfaces are made of living cell, so must be kept moist. Some of this moisture evaporates into the air. The temperature for the inspired air is always variable and the expired air is always warm. So air is warm as it passes through the respiratory passages. So with that being said, I hope that you will like it. So that's all for this chapter 11. Thank you very much.